Welcome to this video. Today we need to talk about SpaceX. And this is the company that's going to make life multi-planetary. And we can buy the shares, me and you, because this company is going to go IPO pretty soon on June 12, 2026 in 11 days and 19 hours to be precise. So in this deep dive analysis, we're going to go over the SEC files, we're going to go over the fundamentals, we're going to go over the latest news, and we're going to answer the question whether investors should buy on the first day and whether long-term investors can make money. So without further ado, let's dive right in. SpaceX is a space company and it was founded by Elon Musk, and he said, I can't think of anything more exciting than going out there and being among the stars. He's the visionary behind the company and he has big ideas about the future, about colonizing Mars, for example. So all the focus of the company right now really goes on making the Starship work to make life multiplanetary and eventually send people to Mars and back. And to make that possible, they're going to use reusable rockets, which is pretty new in the space, because most of the rockets are just thrown away, and he wants to make them reusable to reduce cost and to make more launches. And they're really doing well when it comes to reusability. And all their focus goes on these rockets. But they have much more, which we'll talk about later. SpaceX wants to make human spaceflight normal for everyone. And you can already see here that they want to make missions that you can just basically book on a website like you do when you book like something on Amazon, for example. So you can go to the moon, Mars, Earth orbit. So if you go to Mars, you can basically join the mission already. But you have to wait probably a long time, because I don't see it happen in the near future, because it's very complex. In short, SpaceX cannot send people to the moon or to Mars yet, but they can send satellites into orbit, and they can give internet for everywhere around the world. So you can basically buy an antenna, and they have satellites, so you can have internet everywhere, wherever you want. And this is actually the only part of SpaceX that's actually really profitable. We'll talk about this later, but they make a lot of money by giving access to the internet through their Starlink. Sending people to the moon or Mars is for the far, far future. But Starlink is for today. They're already making money with Starlink. But what's for the near future is data centers. So here we can read that SpaceX founder Elon Musk has said that he wants to put data centers in space for cost efficiency. And this could be the near future growth driver for SpaceX. So why does Elon Musk want to build data centers in space? Well, there's one reason: it's always sunny in space. So they have constant electricity, free electricity to power the data centers. So this could be the future growth driver for SpaceX. In short, there are basically three main things that SpaceX does. It's rockets, build and launch rockets for satellites, cargo, and astronauts, and Starlink internet. That they're making money right now, and a lot of people are using it, and they're pretty profitable here. So they provide high-speed internet anywhere in the world. And of course the AI infrastructure, because they're also now collaborating with Tesla and XA1 to build the Terafab and so they're going to build the infrastructure power to power the future of AI. So the rockets is for the far future, like moon, Mars. I don't see that happen anytime soon. This is going to take a long time, so you need to be very, very patient. Starlink is already making money right now, and this is for the near future to grow the revenue and earnings for the company. We're now looking here on the SEC files, and we can see that Starlink broadband and mobile satellites are over 9,600, and the Starlink subscribers are around 10.3 million users. So that's a lot of satellites in the sky, and they provide internet for everyone in the world. And 10 million subscribers is insane, which means that they have a lot of recurring income, and this is great for the company. So what's the future of SpaceX, and how can they grow as a company? Well, we can read here. We believe we have identified the largest actionable total addressable market in human history. We estimate that our quantifiable TAM is $28.5 trillion, consisting of $370 billion space, 1.6 trillion in connectivity. So we can see it here, we can see that space is only 370 billion market, connectivity 1.6 trillion. That's the Starlink. And AI is $26.5 trillion. So they basically want to tell us we are not just a space company. We are an AI infrastructure company, and we're going to make a lot of money. Here we can see the earnings per share. So we can basically see the net income. How much money are they making? Are they profitable? Well, we can see for here in the last year, 2025, it's 4.937 billion, but it's in parentheses, which means it's negative. So they're losing money, billions of dollars. So they're not profitable yet. And this could be like a concern for investors. But here we can see that the company does have revenue. For example, the space is like 4 billion revenue, connectivity 11 billion, and AI 3.2 billion as of 2025. So the total reportable segment is like $18 billion. When it comes to revenue, we can see that the connectivity has the most revenue, which is the Starlink and the basically internet everywhere through their satellites. So not too profitable yet, but are they a financially strong company? Well, if we just simply look at the cash and short-term investments and the total debt, then we can see that the cash and short-term investment 24.93 billion and the total debt is 24.45 billion. So they have more cash and short-term investments, which is great. So this company isn't taking too much leverage, and that is definitely a positive sign, I would say. So not too much leverage, and I really like that. There's actually a lot of controversy around this IPO of SpaceX because many investors are saying it's too expensive, it's a scam, it's going to IPO between 1.75 trillion and $2 trillion. So it's highly overvalued and it's risky. But is it really overvalued? Let's find out. To find out, we need to use this price to sales ratio because the company isn't really profitable yet. When a company isn't profitable, they don't have positive earnings yet, but they do have revenue. How do we value the company? Well, we can look at a simple metric which is called the price to sales ratio. And what is the price to sales ratio? Well, essentially it's the market cap divided by its revenue. And this tells how much investors pay per dollar of sales. In short, if the company has a lot of revenue and a relative low market cap, then we could say that the company could be undervalued based on the price to sales ratio. So price to sales ratio is basically market cap divided by its revenue. So what's the market cap? Well, here we can read that SpaceX is going public at a $1.75 trillion valuation. So that is basically the market cap. So around 1.75 trillion, maybe 2 trillion. And if we read here, we can see that the revenue for 2025 was listed at $18.67 billion. So let's put it in the formula. We can see price to sales ratio, market capitalization divided by revenue. And then we can see it's 1.75 trillion divided by 18.674 billion is 93.74. So the price to sales ratio is around 94. And this is generally speaking very, very expensive. So if you compare it to like other large cap companies like Nvidia, Alphabet and Amazon, then we can see that the price to sales ratio of 94 is extremely high. So you're paying a lot of money for a company that isn't generating as much compared to the overall market cap of the company. If you look at Nvidia, it's at 24 times, which is also pretty high. Alphabet at 11, and then Amazon is the cheapest based on price to sales ratio. In short, this company is not going to be cheap. The reason they go IPO is of course to raise cash to have money for the development of the Starship. So we need to understand that if we buy this company on the first day, that we are buying basically, we're paying like a premium for the company, and it's looking really, really expensive. If you're like a really long-term investor, then an economic mode is more important than the valuation. But does SpaceX have a strong economic mode? And what is exactly an economic mode? Well, an economic mode is basically a competitive advantage, and this is a framework used by Warren Buffett himself. So let's find the economic mode of SpaceX, so we can find out whether it has wide mode or not. So we can see that it's a wide mode company, and this is great. So they do have a strong mode because it's very hard to compete with a company like this. You cannot just start a space company. So it says 8.5 out of 10. And it consists of the brand power, switching costs, network effects, cost advantages, and tangible assets. And we can see that especially like the brand power is really well. So SpaceX possesses an exceptionally strong global brand synonymous with innovation, ambition, and technological leadership in space exploration. And we can also see that they have huge cost advantages because SpaceX reusable rocket technology like the Falcon 9 Heavy provides a substantial cost advantage per launch compared to competitors, enabling lower prices and higher margins. And that's why they can send all these satellites into orbit and to make internet accessible for everyone. And that's great. So the verdict, SpaceX exhibits a formidable economic mode, primarily driven by its revolutionary reusable rocket technology, which confers unparalleled cost advantages. Its strong brand and the high switching costs associated with complex space infrastructure further solidify its competitive position, making it a difficult company to dislodge. So they do have like a a monopoly. They have a very strong moat, and it's very hard to compete with. So here are the strengths and weaknesses. We can see pioneering reusable rocket technology. That's their strong, significant cost advantages in launch services, strong brand recognition. But they do have weaknesses like high capital expenditure requirements, reliance on government contracts and regulatory approvals, and operational risk inherent in complex space missions. In short, I think that SpaceX is an interesting company. It does have an economic mode, and they have like a lot of like potential, of course, because they are now they are like spending a lot of effort and resources on like the artificial intelligence of it, and it could be a growth factor for the near future, and it could be very interesting. But I think they're very overvalued, and that's just the problem. You don't always have to buy the IPO to make money. Like for example, I bought Nvidia 3 years ago and I made a lot of money. So you can wait for a company to prove itself, and then you can buy it maybe at a higher price, but it is less risk. And I think there are now other opportunities that offer like higher risk rewards, other companies than SpaceX. But so for now, I will not buy on the first day, but maybe I will change my mind and I will let you know. Of course, I will make an update video if I change my mind on this and if I think that there could be a great opportunity. Of course, always do your own research. This video was just for educational purpose only. But if you like this video, feel free to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. If you want to learn how to master stock analysis like a pro and find winning stocks and beat the market so you can build a portfolio that consistently wins, then feel free to check the link in the description down below.